Dr. Dhirendra Kumar sir, pm.NABARD, respected Rector, Father Joy Karyapuram S.J., Principal, Father Dr. T. Nishant S.J., Vice Principal, Father Dr. Martin Porras S.J., eminent members of management, and my dear colleagues, a very warm good afternoon. I, Farhan Khalid, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, welcome you all to the fourth in-house faculty development program of 2020. The topic of today's FDP is Winners Take All, the elite trait of changing the world. The resource person of this FDP is Ms. Aarohi Anand, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Economics. It is the tradition of our college to start every program with a soulful prayer. So I request each one of you to kindly close your eyes and pause for prayer. Almighty God, may your goodness and love be present amongst us today. Come, bless us with unity and vision. Lord, we pray for unity. And formally welcome our chief guest. Over to you, Father. Father, you are on mute, I think. You are not audible.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you. It's a great honor for us to have again our Dr. Dhirendra Kumar with us. He was the guest of honor on our annual day, and I remember him telling me that he would be very happy to be associated with us, and especially he has got a doctorate in economics. So, very warm welcome to you, sir. Uh, yes, and we are very happy. This is an exercise which we are doing here. We call it in-house faculty development program, through which we want ourselves to be updated, widen our horizon, and develop critical thinking. So, in order to achieve these objectives, we have every Monday at 3 p.m. one of the faculty members, he or she is given a book, or he or she can choose also, and they present, they expose, and then we have a discussion, and the observer makes a few comments on the way it was done and his own view for about maximum 10 minutes, and we conclude with an evaluation, feedback, and so on. So very happy to have you with us on this beautiful season, festive season, and a very, I would say, the most revered फेस्टिवल ऑफ बिहार द छठ पर्व की शुरुआत हो रही है, तो हम उसी माहौल में हैं. सो गुड टू हैव यू. सो ओवर टू यू द रिसोर्स पर्सन Aarohi Anand. I wish you all the best. Go ahead.
Thank you, Father, and good afternoon to everyone. Let me present my screen. Uh, is my screen visible, Farhan sir?
Yes, ma'am, it's clearly visible.
So, good afternoon once again. When I first picked this book from father's table, my first thought was that this book is about stock market or how to invest in stock market and earn loads of money. What else do you expect an economist when she sees money and winners on the same page? But what is this book really about? Here in our college, we teach our students values, morals, and ethics and to be there for others. But after graduating out, when they get a job and are in the family way, do they really get a time to be there for the others? And is it really too big an ask to be there to help others while not dedicating your life to a religious congregation or joining an NGO? Is there any way to be an agent of social change while doing regular jobs? And while being in regular jobs, can we not harness the power of new technologies, provide solutions for deep rooted social problems? Interesting and tricky questions. This book answers questions like these and many more. Before we dive in a caveat, although the problems presented and solutions given are practically applicable for the entire country in the world, but let us keep in the mind that this book specifically talks about American economy and society. तो चलिए समाज का भला करते हैं यह जन्म हुआ किस अर्थ अहो समझो जिसमें ये व्यर्थ ना and what better place to begin our learning than George Washington University. It is one of the more prominent Jesuit universities in the US. The university follows up its teaching of women and men for others. Let me repeat, women and men for others, while imparting some practical skills to be so. Social Innovation and Public Service Fund, Beck Center for Social Impact and Innovation, and Baker Social Scholars Program offer the students opportunities to extend your talent, solve a complex problem, change the world, improve lives. Problems of the present world are too complex, and to solve this for governments alone is a difficult task. To bring change in society, government, NGOs, and industry needs to come together. George Washington University is one of many such universities that act as a link between government, NGOs, and industry. Industry sponsored schemes such as ones we saw in the last slide train students to learn how to design, organize, and raise funds for careers in social impact. After finishing their training and internships, students are offered jobs in companies like Goldman Sachs, McKinsey, Morgan Stanley, the Boston Consulting Group, Deloitte. And these are all top consulting firms of the world. Some of you may be knowing about them also. As well as in non-profit institutions like Skoll Foundation, the Obama Foundation, and the Clinton Global Initiative. This implies that markets can be an agent of social change. But then, how exactly do business help in bringing about social change? Any idea? Any guesses? Let me repeat my question. How exactly do business help in bringing about social change? Either can be through corporate social responsibility initiatives, or is it through corporate charity? What do you think? My answer is no. It is done by making social change the purpose of business and not a byproduct of a business. When a business becomes a social enterprise, it becomes free from the worries of raising funds, commanding resources, and waiting for government initiatives. One example of numerous such business is Even, which you can see on the slide. Even is an annual subscription based service. A friendly reminder, this companies which are being listed here is situated in America, and we are talking about American economy. Bulk of the paid jobs in US, except for those who are working at the top notch, is done by contractual workers, both blue and white collars. Modern hyper optimizing businesses have invented a concept called dynamic scheduling. Without going into the specifics or nitty-gritties of this dynamic scheduling, let me explain you with a very plain example. It means that you are never sure how many hours you would be working in a particular work week. And that basically boils down to the fact that you are never sure how much money are you going to have in your hands at the weekend. Such uncertainty brings havoc because you don't know in the end of the month what amount of money you'll be carrying back to your home. To help workers to tide over this uneven earning, Even app squirrels away some money from your paycheck in the weeks you earn more than your usual and recompensates your weekly income from that squirreled away money in the weeks you earn less than your usual. In this way, your weekly income smoothens out and you ensure for yourself an even monthly earning. Simple, elegant, brilliant. This is a personal solution for a public problems faced by the workers of US economy. Lesson learned is that you can do well while doing good. But can these social enterprise use technologies to bring equity into an unequal world? Technology-based businesses are primarily network businesses. Network-based businesses take away the power concentrated in the hands of a few, like conglomerates, guilds, chains, and put in the hands of a common man like you and me. For example, anyone with a room to spare or an old family car to rent can instantly become a solo entrepreneur by simply downloading a mobile app and starting his business. You have Airbnb and an Uber to let you do so without much hassle. So, in an unequal world, technology is a great equalizer. Every great ideas need to be or has to be well thought out by someone. And thus, the importance of thinkers in a society plays a much important role, as said by Rene Descartes. I think, therefore I am. There are two classes of thinkers, public intellectuals and thought leaders. Public intellectuals are born critics. They criticize everything, be it a government, be it a business, be it a society, be it an individual. They even criticize each other as if they are on a mission of criticizing. Whereas in contrast, we have thought leaders. They are optimistic lot. They are believers. They encourage. They motivate. They believe that they can uplift the society with the positive aspect, with the hopefulness among the society. This prophecy will help the society to change at large. Let us meet such a few visionary thought leaders. In 1998, Bill Gates predicted that internet would become a medium for social change. And today we have Uber, Airbnb and numerous others as direct application of that. In 2013, Sherwin Pishwar visualized a fifth mode of transport that has been realized in this very month by Virgin Hyperloop's first manned ride, currently very much in news. In 2014, Mark Zuckerberg prophesied that video will be the king of content, and see, this very FDP is being run through multiple video feeds, MS Team, Google Meet, Zoom, different kinds of video apps are coming up in order to solve our problem. The guiding philosophy of these thought leaders is sharing is caring. These thought leaders are part of culture, community, society, or a mindset called market world. It is a network of enlightened business people and their collaborators in the world of charity, academia, media, government, and think tanks. They believe that social change should be pursued principally through the free market and voluntary action. They pose that the rich is a mere agent and trustee for the poor. Giving back is a true reconciliation of the rich and the poor. The market worlders try to make a society successful. A successful society is a progress machine said by someone. So what is a progress machine? A progress machine should utilize innovation to advance human development. Let me repeat it. The progress machine should utilize innovation to advance human development. Instead of that, the system has come to be one that facilitates organized loot and legalized plunder. Organized loot and legalized plunder. Let me give you an example of this. You'll be shocked. Globally, top 10% of humanity have come to hold 90% of the planet's wealth. Just 8 people possess as much wealth. Rest, I leave you to read, and I'll move forward. In India, it is a context I was talking earlier about globally. Now I talk in terms of India. Top 10% of the population holds 77% of the total national wealth. It will take 941 years for a minimum wage worker like you and me to earn what a top paid executive earns in a year. And congratulations to entire country. Billionaires of our country have total wealth higher than the entire union budget for the fiscal year 2018 and 19. 8 people equals 3.6 billion, and billionaires of India is now having great amount of wealth in comparison to what budget we passed for one financial year. Wow. Interesting and horrifying facts. It is like I sit on a man's back, choking him, making him carry me, and yet assure myself and others that I am sorry for him and wish to lighten his load by all means possible, except by getting off his back. Leo Tolstoy. It is like you're poking someone continuously, then saying, okay, koi baat nahi, koi dikkat nahi, acha, theek hai. It is how the life has become. In recent years, people have become disenchanted with the system and have voted in populist movements like socialism and extremist movements like nationalism in hope of fixing the problem. Plutocrats have responded to the increasing hostility towards them by taking charge of finding solutions to social problems. And because they are in charge of these attempts, these initiatives at times reflect their biases also. The initiatives taken by these plutocrats aren't democratic. They are no way in a democratic manner. They do not reflect collective problem solving or universal solutions. Rather, they favor most the use of private sector and its charitable spoils. They advocate the market way of looking at things and bypassing of government. They think they are the ruler, they can change, they have the right because they have money. They treat their ill gotten wealth as an orchard. They may share the fruit, but never the orchard. Paradox of modern elite concern and economic predation can be looked upon in many different ways, and some of them are listed here. One, in an incorrigible world, they are trying to do the best they can. Two, although well meaning, their efforts at helping others are inadequate in as much as they do not address the root cause social evils. But a more sinister view is to look through their charade and understand that in all their initiatives, while scratching at the surface, they are actually working by all means possible at preserving their status quo that has helped them in the first place to amass wealth and concentrate power in their hands. By taking charge of social change, the elite crowd out public action and reshape the idea of social change. The elites fight to change the world in ways that essentially keep it the same and give back in ways that sustain a skewed distribution of influence, resources, and tools. What a great idea and visionary leaders we have. We must understand that social change is not a project that one group of people carries out for the benefit of another. So, what is at stake actually? Point number one, will the reform of our common lives, led by the government, elected by and accountable to people, or rather by wealthy elites claiming to know our best interest? Are we, in the name of antecedent values such as efficiency and scale, willing to allow democratic purpose to usurped by private actors who often genuinely aspire to improve things, but first thing first, people seek to protect themselves? Very basic questions. Solution of public problems should be achieved through public actions and not through private authorities. Changing the law, going to court, organizing citizens, petitioning the government with grievances, voting political dispensations, in or out in elections, and other civic society actions. When a society helps people through its shared democratic institution, it does so on behalf of all and in context of equality. Yes, I agree, government is dysfunctional at present, but that is all the more reason to treat its repair our foremost national priority. With this quote, I would like to end my presentation, said by Anand Giridharadas. Pursuing workarounds of troubled democracy makes democracy even more troubled. Thank you all. Over to you, Farhan sir.
Thank you, Aarohi ma'am, for the enriching and informative presentation. Now, after the presentation, we move forward for the discussion round. Aarohi ma'am, can we have the questions for the discussion? Yes,
So,
yes. So
should
the
I
question,
read?
yes, you can read. Yes, Aarohi ma'am, go ahead.
So, question for discussion after this, mm, you know, presentation. The first is, in the wake of concerted efforts to weaken public institutions in India, what can we do to stop the rot and strengthen them? Should I read both the questions, sir? Or
Take one by one, Aarohi ma'am. It will be better, I
okay,
think. Okay. So,
okay.
if one would like to start the discussion, please raise your hand. Yes, Chaudhary sir, please go ahead.
Actually, I wanted to speak later. I wanted to hear other people's opinion about all the things, but then no one was coming up. I had to come up. First of all, congratulations, Aarohi. Presented
Thank you,
well,
sir.
explained well. But sorry, the book itself, to me, I find full of contradictions. Why do I say this? It starts with appreciating one institution, good. Then it talks about if you criticize, you are some biased. I mean, something you are not good enough. I mean, you should not be criticizing all the time. I understand. Then it goes on to raise all the things that in the entire nation, entire world, there is inequality. And then it does not address why this inequality exists. Rather, it I mean, ends up where the book does not conclude anything. My view is this: the ownership of resource is the root cause of inequality. Private ownership cannot continue with public good. The public ownership is a must. This is what is happening in India. When you say the Indian institutions are weakened, what does it mean? Indian institutions are getting weakened in favor of private good. The resources are being privatized all through. Ownerships are being transferred to private owners, private corporates. That is very visible. And then to hide all this, we have the hate agenda, so that your attention is diverted. So actually, when you say criticizing, you are doing not good to the system. I say your first job is to criticize, create an opinion, stand for the institution, stand for the public well-being, rather than fear what will be the impact of your criticism. And what that is what happening. All those who speak something are in jails. All those who are with the corporates are enjoying all the favor. So I really stand for the protection of the well-being of the common masses. Okay, in that sense, I will say the book does not give a solution, rather, it leaves us in the problem itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaudhary sir, for sharing your point of view. Is there anyone else? I can't see hands after Chaudhary sir. Anyone would like to speak, share your thought on this? Yes, Joel sir. First Joel sir and then Piyush Sahai sir. Joel sir, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. You're clear.
The public institutions actually have become a toy in the hands of the government. Unless the government does not put a concerted effort, I don't think the institutions are going to last too long. Number one. Number two, if the institutions are fed by feeder bodies like ancillary units or auxiliary units, I think this problem can be at least, solved a little bit, I think. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joel sir. Yes, Piyush Sahai sir.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Sir, my approach to the first towards the first question is little different. See, first we need to understand. We all know the problem, but where is the solution? Talking about solution, and if we see the structure of government organization and structure of public sector or private sector institutions, private sectors, they mainly work for profit thing, and when we talk about government sector, their approach is some part social related to social justice and something to do with society, employment creation and all. So if you see the current situation, the kind of debts we are, the kind of restructuring we need, uh, this investment is the only solution which I can see right now with the government. Because if you ask government to borrow additional fund, the government is not in a position to borrow additional fund. If you ask government to stop this investment, then where is the money? The active taxpayers are very less. So if you see, it's not like weakening the economy. The entire approach is to somewhat give the boost to economy. Yes, politically we have been challenged. The government policy somewhere was not used properly to to develop the economy, which we actually would have achieved. So I think, sir, it's not about the creating another problem in the society. It's like the where is the solution? What is left with the government or any other policy maker in our country uh, other than this investment? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Piyush sir. Rakesh sir.
Uh, my response to this first question will be that weakening of institution in India, not just only the government, but the institutions are also to be blamed. See what is happening with the senior judges in judiciary, in High Court and Supreme Court judges, the in commissioner commission, all those people who are enjoying the highest chairs, they are also behaving like a greedy people, and they are working more like a licensing agent between the government, so that after retirement they get some constitutional post like governor or chair of different commissions. So that is one of the problem. So they are most of the time trying to please government, appease government. Some sort of appeasement is going on. Supreme Court judges will deliver judgment in favor of government. They don't want to make a bad relationship with the government. So that is also one of the reason of weakening of institutions. To respond to Piyush sir's questions that where is the money for government to run different sorts of schemes, and they cannot borrow money from the different financial institutions. See, most of us we don't want to pay taxes, yet we want government to carry on with different sorts of beneficial schemes. So money will not come from heaven. We are the people, we have to contribute, and then only government can run welfare schemes for different people. But corporate wants different sorts of tax waivers. We salaried class want different sorts of tax waivers. Poor people will not pay tax because they are not capable of paying. So where will the money come? That is my response. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakesh sir. Next one is Alok Baral sir.
Yes, sir. My answer to this question will be, sir, see, uh, it is about the weakening of the government institution, that is right. But who is responsible? Privatization is not a bad thing. It is very good for development of the country also. But along with the persons who are involved in the business or the government agency, they have to be strict. And what I want to say, that short-term gains, corruption is a major source. That is why there is a weakening. So if there will be less corruption, the agency should work on that basis. The government should apply brake on the corruption part. Everything will be fine then. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Rashid sir.
Yes. Good afternoon, sir. And first of all, congratulations to Aarohi ma'am. Okay, my response to first question would be, see, first we have to understand the structure of our economy. Everybody is talking about the problem. Nobody is talking about the solutions. If the if our public institution is weakened today, then sir, what is the solution? Our economy is a mixed economy, sir. There would be some stake of private players, some stake of public players, and there is not even a single factor that is affecting our public institutions. There are plethora of reasons behind this, and we are talking about the qualitative factors. We are not taking into consideration the quantitative factors. If we are going to talk about the working capital management of the public institutions, sir, it is drastically poor in comparison with the private companies, because public institutions, they don't know how to manage their working capital. If there is a requirement of 10 lakh, they are they are keeping 20 lakh, 50 lakh unnecessary in their reserve. What is the use of that money, sir? Public workers, public employees are not ready to update themselves. They are just following the old stereotype methods. We are not adopting the technology, the new technology. On the contrary, sir, private employers are always keeping them engaged in trying something new. We are stick with the same problem. And yes, one of the major factor, that is taxation, because 70% of the revenue collects from the tax, but only 3 or 4% are active taxpayer. We have a RBI, we have a printing press, but we cannot print money as much as we want, because it all depends upon the demand and supply factor. And nowadays, government has started disinvestment. Government has basically sold 3 or I think almost all the airports, only 2 or 3 are left, to the private players. But it doesn't mean that we are going to incur a loss in it. There is a huge financial policy behind that, so we cannot cover it in a one term, and it would be more technical. So what is our responsibility to make our public sector strength? Sir, you have to pay the tax on time. We can contribute towards the society, because see, money is always rotating in the economy, and if the cycle would not be smooth and efficient, we cannot borrow the money from the outside. Already we have borrowed money lots of from World Bank, IMF. Still we have just borrowed 2 lakh crore from RBI in order to meet the urgencies during COVID-19. So there are multiple factors which are affecting the public institutions. Thank you for answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rashish sir. I have a small request to make. It will be better, I think, due to time constraint. It will be better if we will take. Question number 2 is, as educationists, how can we contribute towards making our civic life and public actions vibrant? So it will be better, I think, if we will take both the questions at the same time. Yes, so Ashok sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I thought because of the time constraint, I may be losing my chance to speak. Thank you. Congratulations, Aarohi ma'am, for this wonderful presentation on the book. A response to the second question is, as educationists, we must contribute our bit to the society to generate machineries to generate wealth. And this generation can be well spread over all the corners of the society if the distribution of money will also not be a problem.
I take a reference, though I am not very sure of the source of this reference. I read somewhere in some books that the Protestant society, a group of people had a belief that they were born to be entrepreneurs. The God had sent them to the earth to be business people, and that too to provide wealth to the society that they belong to. So they were the society people, they were the entrepreneurs of the society. That kind of a feeling, that kind of an education, if we spread among the members of the society, I think our role will be
that the corruption is the major root cause. So we should start working as an educationalist also at our level. And at last, one line I just wanted to add into it. It's easy to say, but we all are working with this orientation to remove the corruption, and it is still not going. So major reforms are required. Many things are there to say while we are talking about the public institutions and how to improve the level of it. Yeah, so this much I can say. Thank you so much. And congratulations, Aarohi ma'am, for this wonderful analysis. Thank you, sir.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you, sir. Two things, sir. Just one, when we say the taxes, remember, the biggest income that goes to the corporate, they are the lowest taxpayers. One. If we say corruption, they have the money to corrupt the government system. So the concentration of money in the hands of corruption itself becomes the corporate itself becomes the source of corruption. Third, if the private sector is so efficient, the largest non-performing asset with the bank is due to the non-payment of the loans by the corporates. So what is happening there? Where is their efficiency? Entire capitalist system is privatized and all inefficiency is cropping up. Where is the solution? Without the public ownership of the resources for the public welfare, the solution will not come. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Farhan sir, and congratulations, Aarohi ma'am. When I was reading the first question, that is in the wake of concentrated efforts to weaker public institutions in India, what can we do to stop and strengthen them? According to me, Farhan sir, the problem here is not weakening one particular section and strengthening the other section. If we look at the banking sectors or the insurance sectors, year 2019, we celebrated 50 years of India's bank nationalization. So nationalization was there, and when the then Prime Minister, late Mrs. Indira Gandhi, she was the Finance Minister as well as the Prime Minister. She nationalized 14 major private banks. So when privatization and then there was again public sector, it was converted into public sector. It was not a chaos that was created. And we talk about a public sector being privatized. In such a situation, why do we frame it as a purposeful effort to weaken a particular section and strengthen the other section? It's actually, we are talking about the economic development. If you perform well, fine. If you don't perform well, then you don't have a choice but to get that converted into a private sector if they are performing well. So that is what I feel about this particular thing. It's not about purposely weakening a particular section to strengthen the another section. That is my thought, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, Supriya ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Farhan sir. I want to take the second question, like it is mentioned, as educationists, how can we contribute towards making our civic life and public action vibrant? So I think as educationists, we can provide holistic, we can provide holistic knowledge to the student so that the student or whom we are teaching this ethics and all, they will be able to know what the ethics is, and they will be able to give their 100% with a lot of responsibility. So like so many, of us had mentioned about corruption. So how corruption evolved? If we will be doing our work responsibly, all these things what we were talking about can sort it out. So as educationists, we know that the biggest resource we have for our economy is human resource. So if human resource with skills, if human resource will have some values, they will be contributing well. So that's my opinion, that holistic development of any student will work for this, for the civic life and this whole thing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Kalpana, ma'am.
Thank you, Farhan sir. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Aarohi ma'am, and I want to say rather we wanted to hear more from her, because I'm not. I was just going through it, and I felt something incomplete. I couldn't follow very much. Perhaps if you could have bigger session, then we would have learned more. And I'm not able to connect this question with this book. But anyways, the question which I could interpret accordingly, I just want to express my opinion that nothing is in public sector now. Rather, the market mechanism is the ruling the public sector or public institution. Whether it is a government, whether it is an enterprise, it's all left on market mechanism now. Everything is privatized. Government doesn't have that much of resource. And if they don't have resource, the ruling also comes in the hands of market mechanism. Indirectly, they rule. Now, at present in our country, if we talk in context of our country, we have Tata as well as Reliance. So now it depends on ourselves. What kind of institution we want to have? If we'll promote institution like Tata, we will be having more Tata. And if we'll promote institution like Reliance, we will be having more Reliance. So now we have to fight for ourselves. Public institution is not going to help us. Now it's time for especially middle class people. We need to do a revolution. We have to establish institution. We need to make a revolution. And we need to create a system which we want. That here is very much required from the young generation and as well as teachers. We can inspire our students to create a system which will be good for their health, which will be good for their survival. We need to have this. So I don't expect anything from the public. Of course, we make, because who is in the public sector? Me and you. If we don't have the moral, हमारा अगर नैतिक पतन हो गया है और हम ही जाकर उस कुर्सी पे बैठ जाते हैं, तो हम वैसा ही करेंगे. If I have the moral responsibility and if I am a good person, then only I can create something like that. So we as a mass, people have to create a system. They can make changes. We are not participating in politics. We want to be safe. हम politics में खड़े नहीं होना चाहते हैं, हम सुरक्षित रहना चाहते हैं. Then I have to face whatever is given. Now in Bihar during election, what happened? We doesn't have any other choice. हमारे पास कोई तीसरा alternative नहीं था. दिल्ली में अरविंद केजरीवाल जीत गए because there was an alternative. Either I have to stand or I have to bear. या तो हम खड़े हों उस तरीके के इलेक्शन में और फेस करें चीजों को. हम सुरक्षित रहना चाहेंगे तो हमें ऐसे ही सिस्टम को बर्दाश्त करना होगा. So that's all I just want to explain. Thank you, Farhan sir.
Thank you, Kalpana ma'am. And last one we will take Tapeshwar sir. Yes, Tapeshwar sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. Good evening, all present there. My question, a very simple question is, when I was reading a book by Sanjay Sharma, the name of the book is Graphs. It is about open learning, how the whole poor of the whole world can learn at a time. It is called the Science Transforming How We Learn. He is from MIT. And when there was a question about weakening and strengthening the system of Kalpana ma'am was saying, in that context, I want to say one word. Over the years, we have been loaded with more of burdened utility. In that sense, as we are always questioning the system, the usefulness in the wake of weakening and strengthening the system, than with the belief that enriching the gray matter is more of value than hitting the cranium with reason. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So on this note, we will end the discussion round. I thank all of you for your active participation and sharing your thoughts. We all have witnessed a very healthy discussion. So I would like to thank Aarohi ma'am also. You can stop your presentation now, Aarohi ma'am. Now I would like to call our chief guest, come observer, Dr. Dhirendra Kumar sir to please address the virtual gathering and share your thought on this topic. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Uh, Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much. And first of all, very happy Diwali to all of you present here. And a very good afternoon to all of you. My special thanks to Father Nishant for giving me this opportunity because taking time off from our routine and indulging in this kind of discussion is always welcome, and it also gives us a lot of food for thought. So far, my observations on today's discussions is concerned, I would like to put it in three parts. First, about the book which was presented here. So I also, because once you requested me and I accepted the invitation, and I also went through some parts of the book. Otherwise, it would not have been proper for me to speak on this. So the book basically talks of, as I found, was about American economy, about philanthropy, and so many other concepts are also discussed, many of which may or may not be relevant to India, because Indian economy and American economy are quite different. Except for some commonalities between the two, there are a lot of differences. So that was about it. Then second part, I would like to have some observations on the way our question answer session was going on, which I found very absorbing and very thought provoking, very stimulating also. A lot of good discussion happening. And one discussion which really caught my attention was when we were discussing about public institutions. And when we were discussing public institutions, somebody remarked about the judiciary system also, and somebody spoke on the banking system also, which actually concerns us, being in NABARD, the public institutions. So there were a lot of thoughts were being shared and discussed. I think I would like to say only one thing when we talk of the public institutions in our country. I think public institutions are public institutions. So whose institutions are these? These are our own institutions, and they represent the people of this country. And if something is good about the institution or something is not so good about it, I think one reason for that could be the people also. So public institutions are representative of the people. So if they are performing, it is the people who are performing. If they are not performing, it is the people who are not performing. But just one or two things I will talk here. I won't comment about the judiciary because for the obvious reasons. But one thing, when we talk of the public institutions, I think one factor which you all might have noticed recently was the way elections are conducted. Two elections were being conducted in the world. One was the elections in Bihar, our own state, and the second was elections in the US. And I think almost everyone was having a keen eye on both the elections. And those who watched the elections in Bihar and those who watched elections in US, one thing clearly comes out, that there is still a role played by a public institution in India, that is Election Commission of India. So while in Bihar, the elections were, despite COVID, the elections were conducted in such a successful manner, and the results were declared, and probably the new government will also take over tomorrow. In US, still there are some cloud is there, who will be taking over and whom. So there are some good public institutions also. So let us not be that, pessimistic about the public institutions. There are some good institutions. There are not some very good institutions also. Second, I would like to, second was when this, in that discussion, things came, some discussion came on the public versus the private. All of it here is given in our economic survey, which was presented this year, because the theme of this economic survey was, I think, capital formation, wealth creation. And this, in that discourse, a very good distinction has been made between the public and private institutions. And what it says, that the future belongs to the private institutions, and the role of the government will be to only support this private institutions, that is the market forces. That is how it is prescribed in the economic survey, and that is also what is the present policy of the government, and that is why you see many disinvestment programs going on. So private sector, private institutions, someone talked about the SDFC bank and the public sector banks also. Yes, there is no doubt that the efficiency in the private sector are pretty higher as compared to the public sector because of certain reasons, certain compulsions are there. I being a part of the government institution, having seen this, and we see these both kind of banks very, very closely, the private sector banks and the public sector banks. Yes, there are differences. There is a difference in efficiency when there are differences in performance also. So that is where this all public institutions, I mean, if you privatize everything, that is not the solution in a country like India. And if you do everything through the public sector, that will also probably not work. So it has to be a combination of private and public, and rather a complementary role has to be played by the public and private institution. That is what I want to say. And my third observation will be regarding the presentation made by Madam Aarohi, which indeed was a very good presentation. It is not easy to pick up a book and start a presentation on that. It requires a lot of effort, and we all could see the way this presentation was made. There are, however, certain observations on the way it was presented, I think, which I would like to convey through Mala ma'am to her, because these are some remarks on the way the things were presented. So it will not be proper to speak about that in public, as far as I think. And once again, I thank the St. Xavier team for arranging this kind of discourses. One or two suggestions also I would like to give here. One was when we are talking about this philanthropy and other things. I think one thing which is catching up in our country, and which all the students and the faculty need to have a look, is the way the government is trying to promote or cultivate the social enterprises in the country. So, and there was a budget announcement also about the creation of social sector exchange. Like we have NCDX, like we have other markets, bourse markets. Similarly, there is a talk of having a social stock exchange also. So social enterprises is the new thing which is going to happen in our country. So if you can have a look on that social enterprises, that will also be good. About the other faculty members who probably would be making presentations in time to come, I think there are one or two very good books which I'd like to recommend. One of them, especially because there were a lot of discussion on the banks. I think one book which is on the banking and which really I found very, very good was one by one of the RBI governors, Dr. Subbarao, and he says, "Who moved my interest rate?" It's a wonderful book on the way interest rates are governed in our country. And it also talks about relationships between Reserve Bank of India and Government of India. So if any one of you can make a presentation on that, that will be fantastic. I think that will be very interesting. That will be very informative also. I would also like to contribute in that as and when the same happens. Another 2-3 books which come to mind, we used read and quote very extensively when I was in my role as a faculty, was Playing It My Way, that is by Sachin Tendulkar. You can draw many lessons of management from that. So that is also, and of course, one very popular which you all must be knowing, that is the 7 Effective Habits. So these are the 2-3 books on which we can have this kind of discussions, and we can definitely learn from each other in a very nice way. So I end my observations with a very big thanks to Madam Aarohi for her wonderful presentation, and my best regards and respect to Father Nishant for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom and sharing your thought on this topic. I now request our principal, Father Dr. T. Nishant SJ, to give his concluding remark. Over to you, Father.
Thank you, Kumar. I think Dr. Dhirendra gave us very valuable suggestions, and there is no solution to this problem which we are facing. At the same time, as educationists, I think we are indebted to this country that somewhere we have to, may not be a perfect solution. I don't think we can bring about a perfect solution, but we need to work towards an amicable solution in which the poor also, who are human beings, also will have their basic needs met. It's such a tragedy that today in our country there are not one or two, thousands, crores of people who find difficult to meet the basic needs met. That's a tragedy. So on the one hand, as Aarohi ma'am said, 10% of the population is amassing a huge chunk of resources and leaving the rest to fend for themselves is a tragedy of our democracy, tragedy of each one of us. As someone said, corruption, yes, corruption is there with every one of us. The other day I sent to you a 3-minute video clip in which a person goes with a new brand tube of motorcycle and gives to somebody to saying that there is a puncture. There was no puncture, but he said there are 2 punctures. He paid the money. So corruption is everywhere, the greed is everywhere, and unless, first of all, the transformation begins with oneself, and do not stop there. We have to somehow influence, affect the institutions, whether they are private or public. This discussion, whether the public or the private is good, I think is unending. We have some of the countries like Singapore. It is not a socialist country, yet the people who live there are far more, live in happiness, contentment, they are more developed. So this discussion, debate can go on. And however, what I would conclude is that somewhere we have to check our personal integrity and do what we can for the other. That's what I want to say. Thank you, Dr. Dhirendra, for your wonderful remarks, critical remarks, and thank you for being with us. And once again, congratulations. As Sir said, it is not easy to expose a book, present a book within half an hour time. Aarohi ma'am tried her best, and so we thank her and congratulate her. We thank the moderator, the Dean Academics, and all of you who contributed to the discussion. Some of you are very silent. I am not very happy with it. Eternally silent. I'm sorry. I will pull you out. That is not the spirit of a Xaverian. We need to contribute. We need to share. It doesn't matter whether right or wrong. We are not here to judge anyone. So I would want more participation, but shorter interventions, not long. Just 1 or 2 sentences, concise, very precise sentences we can make. Some of you spoke very long. I actually intervened, but you people didn't hear. So please, the moderator has to take care that it is not a long intervention which we need here. Short, but many more people can come in and say what they want, and that's what I want. Thank you very much. I think it was a very fruitful evening. Thank you very much.
Father, can I speak something?
Yeah.
I would like to thank Dhirendra sir, Father Nishant, Mala ma'am, and Farhan sir, and all my teachers who blessed me so that I can do this, good presentations. And I'll be waiting, sir, for your remarks, so that I can improve a lot. Yes. So thank you, Father Nishant, for this, FDP. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Aarohi ma'am. I would like to extend my profound gratitude to the chief guest, come observer, Dr. Dhirendra Kumar sir, for his presence and for sharing the words of wisdom. I would like to thank our principal, Father Dr. T. Nishant S.J., Vice Principal, Father Dr. Martin Horace S.J., eminent members of management, and my dear colleagues. I would like to thank the organizing committee of this FDP. I would like to thank a special thanks to the technical team for their hard work and dedication in making this program a success. And at last, I would like to thank each and every member of our Xavier Parivar. Jai Xavier, Jai Bharat. The feedback